Hey guys, tonight we're staying up way past bedtime. The rain is tapping on the classroom windows like impatient fingers, counting down the seconds until the fluorescent lights decide to hum a little louder. You know that sound, those long tubes overhead that never quite warm up, buzzing like trapped insects while the storm outside presses its face against the glass. I'm sitting cross-legged on the teacher's desk in room 204, the one with the wobbly leg that always threatens to dump your coffee. The hallways beyond the door are darker than they have any right to be at 11:47 p.m., and every locker slam from the wind feels like someone testing the combination to get in. You probably won't make it to morning after this one. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I like knowing who's walking these halls with me. Now, dim the lights, maybe crack open a window for that midnight breeze, and let's walk the halls together. It started with detention, mine, senior year, spring of 2019. Lincoln High's detention room was the library annex on the second floor, a glass-walled box that smelled of old National Geographics and the lemon-polished Mr. Hargrove used on the tables every Friday. Real place, real smell. You can still Google the yearbook photo of the annex ribbon cutting in 1998. I was there for skipping calc to finish a mural in the art wing. Technically vandalism, technically art, depending on who you asked. The vice principal, Mrs. Delgado, locked me in at 3:15 with a stack of algebra worksheets and the warning that Mr. Hargrove would check on me at 6. 6 came and went. 7. The storm rolled in, thick as cafeteria gravy, and the power flickered just enough to make the emergency exit signs glow like guilty consciences. By 8, the building should have been empty, teachers gone, janitors on their final sweep, security gates rattling down. But I heard the slosh of a mop bucket in the corridor. Slow, deliberate, the rubber wheels squeaking over linoleum that hasn't been waxed since the Clinton administration. Curiosity tugged harder than fear. I pressed my face to the glass. Down the hall, past the trophy cases where the 1983 state basketball champs grinned in faded Polaroid glory, Mr. Hargrove pushed his cart. Same gray jumpsuit, same keys jingling like wind chimes made of guilt. Except he wasn't heading toward the exits. He turned left at the water fountain, the one that only gives brown water after storms, and disappeared into a stretch of wall that, according to every fire drill I'd ever walked, was solid cinder block. I blinked. The mop bucket wheels kept squeaking, fainter now, like a radio losing signal. I told myself it was a trick of the storm, thunder bouncing off brick, but the wet tracks on the floor gleamed under the emergency lights. 2 parallel lines, perfectly spaced, curving around a corner that shouldn't exist. The annex door was locked from the outside, but the push bar on the inside still worked if you jiggled it just right. Senior prank knowledge, courtesy of Tyler and Gwen, class of 18. I slipped into the hallway. The air tasted metallic, like someone had licked a battery and breathed it out. Lockers loomed on both sides, their vents exhaling cold drafts that smelled of pencil shavings and cafeteria tater tots. My sneakers left no sound on the tile. The storm swallowed everything. I followed the tracks, past the science wing where the fetal pigs still floated in jars nobody bothered to drain, past the band room where the sousaphone case had a permanent dent shaped like a freshman's head. The tracks ended at a door I'd never seen. Wooden, warped, paint the color of nicotine stains. No number, no window, just a brass knob dulled by decades of palms. A paper sign taped at eye level read, in Mr. Hargrove's blocky handwriting, Classroom 13, do not disturb. Lincoln High only has 12 classrooms per floor. I'd memorized the layout in 6th grade when we had to draw evacuation maps for scouts. I pressed my ear to the wood. Inside, the mop sloshed, once, twice, then silence. A faint smell leaked through the gap beneath the door. Wet chalk and something sweeter, like the strawberry milk they stopped serving after the budget cuts. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Dead zone. No signal, but the clock still read 8:27. I reached for the knob. It turned without resistance, as if the lock had been waiting for a student who was late by 30 years. The door swung inward on hinges that didn't squeal, revealing a room lit by a single bulb swinging from a frayed cord. Desks in perfect rows, dust floating like chalk ghosts in the air. And Mr. Hargrove, back to me, pushing his mop in slow circles around a floor that gleamed wetter than any storm could explain. On the blackboard, someone had written in fresh white chalk, "Welcome back, detention." The bulb overhead sways like a hypnotist's watch, throwing Mr. Hargrove's shadow across the blackboard in long, stretching pulses. I step inside. The door sighs shut behind me. Not a slam, just a soft click that sounds like a tongue against teeth. The air is warmer than the hallway, thick with the ghost of dry erase markers and the copper tang of old pennies. My sneakers stick slightly to the floor, still wet, though the mop bucket sits abandoned by the coat hooks, water inside it perfectly still, reflecting the ceiling like a black mirror. I clear my throat. Mr. Hargrove? He doesn't turn. The mop keeps moving, figure eight patterns that erase nothing and leave darker streaks instead. I notice the handle is wrong, too short for his height, the wood pale and new where his knuckles grip. The jumpsuit, too, is off. Lincoln High janitorial is navy blue, but this one is the old mustard color from the 1980s, the kind you see in yearbook candids when the mascot was still a Viking instead of whatever corporate-friendly Lynx they rebranded to in 2004. Curiosity edges toward the first prickle of fear, the kind that starts behind the knees. I take another step. The desks are real, scarred oak, metal frames bolted to the floor the way they stopped doing after the 1994 renovation when everything switched to lightweight plastic. Initials carved deep, JL plus MR inside a lopsided heart. I run my finger over the grooves. The wood is warm, as if someone just stood up. On the corner of the nearest desk lies a folded sheet of paper, the kind with the blue lines and red margin we used in middle school before Chromebooks. It's a map, hand-drawn in ballpoint, that's bled slightly from the damp. Hallways branch like veins, stairwells marked with tiny excess. Room numbers climb to 12, then jump, 13 circled in red, tucked behind the gym where the architecture plans say there's only a janitor's closet and a boiler room that's been padlocked since the asbestos scare of '89. Someone has written in the margin, "Hargrove cleans what isn't there." I look up. The janitor has stopped mopping. He's facing the blackboard now, head tilted as if reading the welcome message that's already fading, chalk dust drifting down like snow. I whisper the only thing that feels safe. "Sir, detention ended hours ago." The bulb flickers once, hard, and the room tilts. Not metaphorically. The floor actually lists 3 degrees to the left, desks sliding an inch with a metallic screech. My stomach drops the way it did on the old wooden roller coaster at the county fair before they tore it down for liability. When the light steadies, Mr. Hargrove is gone. The mop leans against the wall, dripping. The bucket is empty, but the map in my hand is heavier now, paper multiplying into a thin stack. Blueprints, official ones, stamped by the county in 1972, the year Lincoln High expanded after the baby boom. I flip through. First floor, second floor, third, every sheet identical to the evacuation posters by the water fountains. Except the last page. Someone has whited out room 13 with correction fluid, then drawn it back in with the same red pen. A note in the corner, different handwriting, spidery and urgent. They bricked it up in 83. Kids kept disappearing. Fear settles in my chest like cold cafeteria pizza. I fold the blueprints small, stuff them into my hoodie pocket. The realistic anchor here is the expansion itself. Public record, you can pull the microfiche at the library downtown. The mythic one is the room that officially never existed, yet here I stand, breathing its air. I head for the door. It opens onto the wrong hallway. Same lockers, same scuffed tile, but the trophy case is different. Inside, the 1983 basketball photo is gone, replaced by a single framed article yellowed with age. Headline: Senior prank goes wrong. 4 students trapped overnight in sealed wing. No names, just silhouettes. The date is smudged, but I know the year because my mom was a freshman then. She still talks about the sirens, how the fire department sawed through cinder block for 6 hours and found nothing but an empty corridor that ended in fresh mortar. I turn back. The classroom door is gone. Just wall, smooth, painted the exact institutional beige of every other surface. My palm presses flat. It's warm, pulsing faintly like a throat. From inside, the mop starts again, slosh, squeak, slosh, though there's no space for a bucket anymore. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught. I run, not away. That's impossible. But along the hallway that shouldn't connect, past the band room where the sousaphone case now has a new dent, fresher, shaped like my own head if I'd fallen. The wet tracks are back, leading toward the main stairwell. My phone finally catches a bar, 11:59 p.m. The blueprints in my pocket rustle like dry leaves. At the top of the stairs, the PA system crackles to life. Old speakers, the kind that pop before the announcement. A girl's voice, recorded decades ago, tinny and bright. Attention, students. Classroom 13 will remain closed until further notice. Please report any unusual cleaning activity to the front office. The message loops. I reach the landing. The tracks end at the basement door, metal, paint chipped to reveal rust shaped like fingerprints. A new sign, laminated this time, reads, "Janitorial only. Authorized personnel." Beneath it, someone has scratched with a key. He's still looking for the roster. The basement door opens with the sigh of a freezer left ajar. Cold air rolls out, carrying the smell of wet concrete and the bleach they used to scrub the vomit after the 2017 homecoming rally. Real event, still on the local news archive if you search Lincoln High stairwell slip. I take the stairs one at a time. The railing is sticky, like someone spilled soda and never wiped it. Each step down, the PA girl's voice fades, replaced by the steady drip of a pipe that's been leaking since the Clinton years. My phone flashlight cuts a narrow cone through the dark, catching dust motes that swirl like gnats. At the bottom, the basement splits. Left to the boiler room, padlocked, yellow caution tape fluttering like a surrender flag. Right to a corridor I've never seen on any fire drill. The wet tracks lead right, gleaming black on gray concrete. The mop bucket waits halfway down, Abandoned again, but this time the water inside moves on its own. Slow ripples, as if something just broke the surface. I crouch. Reflected in the bucket is not the ceiling, but a classroom. Desks in rows, a chalkboard with half-erased equations, and Mr. Hargrove standing at the front, back to me, writing my name in perfect cursive. Fear is a living thing now, coiled in my throat. I stand too fast, the bucket tips. Water spreads in a perfect circle, soaking my sneakers. Where it touches the floor, the concrete softens, turns to linoleum, the exact pea-green pattern from the second-floor language hall. A seam appears, running straight to a door that materializes like a developing Polaroid. Wood, nicotine paint, same brass knob. The mop is propped beside it, dripping steadily. Drip, drip. Each drop lands in the same spot, carving a tiny crater that steams. I reach for the knob. It's warm, pulsing again. The door opens inward before I turn it. Inside is classroom 13, but wrong. Too big, stretching farther than the basement footprint allows. Moonlight spills through windows that should face solid earth, silvering the dust on 30 desks. The blackboard is clean except for one line in fresh chalk. Take your seat. Roll call in 5. A digital clock above the door, ancient, the kind with flip numbers, clicks to 12:04 a.m. I've never seen it before, but I know it's the same model they removed from the cafeteria in 2001 after it shorted out during Taco Day. Curiosity is gone. Only fear remains, sharp as the splinter I get when I grip the nearest desk to steady myself. The wood is warm, occupied warm. Carved initials glow faintly. JL plus MR again. But the heart is bleeding. Slow red drip that isn't paint. I look closer. The grooves are wet, fresh. My phone buzzes. Impossible down here. No signal, but the screen lights. A text from an unknown number. Sit. He's almost done cleaning. I spin. Mr. Hargrove is in the corner, wringing the mop into the bucket. The water coming out is pink, thin, like watered-down strawberry milk. He doesn't look at me, but his mouth moves, whispering numbers. 12, 13, 14. The count doesn't match the desks. There are 30. He reaches 15 and the lights dim, bulb by bulb, until only the moonlight remains. I back toward the door. It's gone. Smooth wall, warm pulse. The mop bucket rolls itself across the floor, stopping at the teacher's desk. On it sits a clipboard, yellowed attendance sheet. Names in faded ink, class of 1983. For are crossed out in red. J. Lasco, M. Ruiz, T. Nguyen, S. Patel. Same initials as the trophy case article. At the bottom, fresh ink. My name, added in Mr. Hargrove's blocky print. Check mark already beside it. Revelation hits like the basement chill. The room isn't haunted. It's waiting. Every year it needs a full roster, and the janitor cleans until the seats fill. The mythic element is the roster itself. Urban legend says if your name appears, you stay until someone new takes your place. The realistic anchor is the 1983 prank gone wrong. The fire department report lists 4 students unaccounted for. Case closed when the wing was sealed for structural repairs. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught. The clock flips to 12:05. Lockers in the hallway outside. Impossible. We're underground. Start slamming in sequence. Metal thunder rolling closer. Mr. Hargrove lifts the mop. The head is wrong now. Not yarn, but hair. Long, dark, matted with something that drips heavier than water. He turns. His face is blank, smooth as the wall behind me. No eyes, no mouth, just skin stretched over absence. The mop leaves a trail of wet footprints leading to the empty desk in the front row. My desk, because my backpack is already there, zipper open, algebra worksheets spilling out like guts. The PA crackles overhead, though there are no speakers. Late students to classroom 13. Final warning. My legs move without permission, carrying me to the seat. The chair accepts my weight with a sigh, like it's been holding its breath since 1983. The wood is warm, alive. On the desktop, someone has etched today's date, November 15th, 2019, and beneath it, in my own handwriting I don't remember using, "Don't let him finish the floor." The chair holds me like it's grown roots through my spine. I try to stand. The legs scrape but don't lift, bolted again, though I watched them float free a second ago. The moonlight through the impossible windows is brighter now, surgical, picking out every grain of chalk dust that hangs in the air like suspended guilt. My algebra worksheets are gone from the backpack. In their place, a single sheet of loose leaf, filled margin to margin with names. Not the roster, something older. Penmanship loops and slants, fountain ink bled brown. I recognize the first line from my grandmother's yearbook, class of 53. Property of classroom 13. Return or be returned. Fear has teeth now, gnawing at the edges of my vision. The room breathes. Desks creak in slow rhythm, synchronized like lungs. I count 30 heartbeats that aren't mine. Mr. Hargrove, no face, smooth as candle wax, resumes mopping. The mop head drags across the floor in deliberate strokes, and where it passes, the linoleum peels back like sunburnt skin, revealing older tile beneath. Hexagonal, black and white, the kind they ripped out of the original building in 1971 to install the current grid. Each hex glows faintly when the mop crosses it, spelling letters. I read them upside down, SIT. Then again, SDAY. Curiosity flickers back, a reflex. I lean forward. The desk in front of me bears a fresh carving, still smoking at the edges. My full name, middle initial included, the one nobody uses except on report cards. The grooves are warm. Sap, not blood, seeps out, smelling of pine boards and cafeteria floor wax. I touch it. The letter pulses, and memory that isn't mine floods in. Black and white. 8 millimeters flicker. A girl in saddle shoes laughing, chalk in her fist, writing the same name on the board while the janitor watches from the doorway, face already beginning to forget itself. I jerk my hand away. The mop bucket has moved closer, wheels silent. Inside, the water is perfectly clear except for one thing floating. A class ring, heavy gold, Lincoln high crest worn smooth. Initials inside the band, MR. The heart carver. The bucket tilts on its own, pouring a thin stream that snakes across the floor toward my shoes. Where it touches, the tile softens to carpet, shag, avocado green, the exact shade of the teacher's lounge before the 1999 remodel. Real anchor. The lounge carpet samples are still in the district warehouse. I saw them on a field trip in 8th grade. Mythic. The ring is the tether. Legend says if the janitor returns every lost item, the room seals for another year. Mr. Hargrove pauses. The mop drips once, plop, into the carpet stream. The sound is wrong, too loud, like a heartbeat in an empty chest. He lifts the ring with the mop head. Strands of hair cling to it, wet and dark. He places it on the teacher's desk beside a stack of composition books I swear weren't there before. The top book flips open by itself. Inside, Neat cursive. Journal of Classroom 13, 1982 to 83. The last entry, dated the night of the prank. We thought bricking the door would be funny. Hargrove said he'd let us out at dawn. Dawn never came. Revelation lands soft as chalk dust. The students didn't vanish. They graduated into the room. The walls absorbed them, lesson by lesson, until the roster filled and the county bricked the entrance to hide the overflow. Hargrove cleans to keep the count exact. Remove one name, add another. My name is the newest ink. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught. The PA system crackles again, but the voice is different now. Multiple, overlapping, boys and girls, decades apart. Pop quiz. Question 1. What happens when the janitor finishes? The desks answer in unison, with knocking like Morse, in EVR. The mop resumes, faster. Each stroke erases a hex tile, replacing it with fresh linoleum that smells of new construction. The room shrinks by inches, windows sliding inward, moonlight narrowing to a blade. I grab the journal. Pages tear free in my grip. 1983, 1973, 1963. Each decade a new set of names crossed out. New ring sketches in the margins. The final page is blank except for a single line in my handwriting, though I've never held a fountain pen. Break the bucket, break the loop. Beneath it, a crude drawing. Mop handle snapped, water spilling into a drain that spirals like a scream. The bucket is 3 feet away. I lunge. The chair releases me with a splintering crack, wood fibers stretching like taffy before snapping. I hit the floor hard. The journal skids under a desk. Mr. Hargrove turns, smooth face tilting, no eyes but somehow seeing. The mop rises like a spear. I roll. The head slams down where my head was, yarn bursting into wet confetti that smells of strawberry milk and iron. I crawl. The bucket rocks, water sloshing over the rim in slow motion. My fingers close around the metal handle, cold, real, heavier than it should be. Behind me, lockers in the wall, impossible lockers, slam open and shut. Tuchu old homework, crumpled permission slips, a Polaroid of 4 smiling seniors in front of a half-brick door. Their faces are already fading, features sliding off like wet paint. I lift the bucket. Water arcs, glittering under moonlight that's almost gone. It hits the floor in a silver fan. Where it spreads, the linoleum bubbles, hex tiles reappearing, glowing brighter. The room shudders. Desks slide backward, chains rattling though none are visible. Mr. Hargrove drops the mop. It lands upright, handle quivering. The smooth face splits, not a mouth, but a seam, leaking chalk dust that forms words in midair. Not enough. The spilled water reaches the teacher's desk. The class ring melts, gold running like warm honey, pooling into the carved initials on every desk. Steam rises, smelling of yearbook glue and gymnasium floor varnish. The journals ignite without flame, pages curling into black snow. I back toward the wall that was a door. It's wood again, knob warm and waiting. The knob turns under my palm like it's been oiled with breath. I stumble through, and the door seals behind me with the soft finality of a coffin lid. The hallway I expect, second floor, trophy cases, brown water fountain, is gone. Instead, I'm on the main stairwell, but the stairs climb both ways forever, Escher twisted, each landing a carbon copy of the last. The air tastes of hot copier toner and the grape gum that got banned after the 2015 choking incident. Real policy, still in the student handbook, Page 42. My phone is dead now, screen black, but the emergency exit signs glow a steady red that pulses like a heartbeat. Fear has settled into a hum behind my eyes, steady as the fluorescent tubes overhead. I pick down because down is where basements live, but the stairs loop me past the same bulletin board 3 times. Faded poster for the 1983 spring dance. Theme, midnight in the hallways. Ticket price $2.50. The paper curls at the edges, and someone has drawn tiny mop buckets in every corner. I rip it free. Beneath, the cinder block is damp, finger smudges spelling HLP in reverse, as if pressed from the inside. Halfway down the 4th loop, the PA speakers, round, beige, the kind mounted every 20 feet since the 1970s intercom upgrade, crackle to life. No static this time, just a clear, bright bell like the start of first period. Then the roll call begins. Adams, Jennifer. A locker slams once, far away. Chun, Michael. Another slam, closer. The names are alphabetical, class of 1983. The 4 crossed out ones skipped like they never existed. My lungs forget how to work. The voice is layered, girl, boy, teacher, janitor, all speaking at once, perfectly synced. When they reach the NS, my own name hangs in the air like chalk dust that refuses to settle. I run. The stairs finally end at a door marked exit, but the push bar is wrapped in caution tape that spells my name in Mr. Hardrove's block letters. I tear through. The corridor beyond is the main artery of Lincoln High, lockers painted that awful mint green from the 2005 capital improvement bond, still on file at City Hall. Only now every locker door is open, and inside each is a single desk, identical to the ones in classroom 13, each occupied by a shadow that sits too still. The PA continues, faster. Substitute teacher, room 13, immediate need. The shadows turn their heads in unison. No faces, just smooth ovals like Hargrove's. One by one they stand. Desk scrape. I backpedal. My heel hits the mop bucket I spilled earlier, though I'm 3 floors up. Water sloshes, but it's dry, memory water, ghost water. Where it spreads, the mint paint peels to reveal older colors. Harvest gold, then avocado, then the original 1950s institutional gray. The realistic anchor. The paint layers are documented in maintenance logs. Custodians curse them every summer. The mythic. Each color is a decade the room has eaten. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught. The shadows step into the hallway. 30 of them, barefoot, uniforms shifting, saddle shoes to Converse to Crocs, as decades flicker. They carry chalk, pieces snapping off in their fingers, writing on the air, equations, dates, names. The words hang, glowing, then drift toward me like smoke. One brushes my cheek and burns cold. May 13th, 1983, the night of the prank. Another, November 15th, 2019, tonight. The PA voice splits into a chorus, urgent now. Final attendance. Please report to your assigned seat. Lockers slam shut in a wave, starting at the far end, racing toward me. Metal thunder. I sprint the opposite way, past the nurse's office where the cot still has the plastic cover from when they thought lice was airborne in '99. The corridor stretches, rubber floor runner unfurling ahead of me like a tongue. My reflection in the trophy case runs too, but slower, smiling when I'm not. At the T-junction, art wing left, gym right. The wet tracks reappear, fresh, leading left. I follow because there's nowhere else. The art wing smells of turpentine and the clay that hardened in the kiln during the 2011 power outage. Real, ruined senior projects. Insurance claim #LH 2011-47. The tracks end at a door I painted myself junior year. A mural of the school mascot, the old Viking, now half scraped away by budget cuts. Beneath the peeling paint, the wood is the same nicotine stain. Brass knob, no number, but chalked freshly on the door, 13. It opens before I touch it. Inside, the room is full. 30 desks, 30 shadows seated, heads bowed over blank tests. Mr. Hargrove stands at the blackboard, back to me, writing the same sentence over and over. The lesson is attendance. The chalk squeals. The bucket sits on the teacher's desk, refilled, water perfectly still except for my reflection, eyes wide, mouth open. But the me in the water is smiling, waving me in. The PA overhead is silent now, but every shadow whispers the roll call under its breath, my name the only one left. Revelation is a quiet click, like a seatbelt fastening. The room doesn't trap you. You volunteer when you answer. The prank kids thought they were locking Hargrove out. They locked themselves in by staying for the joke. Every year since, someone curious follows the tracks, hears the call, takes the seat. The roster never empties. It just turns the page. I step over the threshold. The door stays open, an invitation, not a cage. The shadows don't look up. Hargrove's chalk pauses midward. I could still leave. The hallway behind me is ordinary again. Mint lockers, buzzing lights, the faint echo of rain that hasn't fallen in hours. But my name is already on the board, glowing. And the bucket water shows the truth. The smiling me is older, wearing a mustard jumpsuit, pushing a mop that never dries. The open door behind me breathes hallway air across my neck. Mint paint, rain through cracked windows, the ghost of cafeteria tater tots. But the room pulls harder. 30 shadows wait, patient as dust. Their pencils hover over blank tests that fill themselves one letter at a time. My name, over and over, in every handwriting the building has ever known. Mr. Hargrove's chalk snaps. The pieces fall upward, sticking to the ceiling like stalactites of light. He turns. The smooth face has a mouth now, just a seam, no teeth, and it speaks with the PA's layered chorus. Lessons almost over. One seat left. Fear is background noise, like the hum of lights you only notice when they stop. I step forward anyway. The floor accepts my weight with a soft, wet sound. Linoleum turning to hex tile under my soles, then to carpet, then to bare pine boards that smell of new construction and old endings. My reflection in the bucket climbs out, older me, jumpsuit, mop in hand, and stands beside Hargrove. It smiles the way I do when I'm pretending to listen in homeroom. It lifts the mop. The head is yarn again, dry, waiting. I look at the empty desk. My backpack is open on it, algebra worksheets neat, a fresh pencil sharpened to a point that could sign anything. The chair scoots back an inch, inviting. The shadows don't breathe, but the room does, in through the windows, out through the vents, carrying chalk dust and strawberry milk and the faint jangle of keys that aren't there. I sit. The chair fits. The wood warms to my shape, remembers every student who volunteered before me. The test in front of me is simple. One question, handwritten in red. What did you come here to learn? The pencil feels right in my fingers. I write the only answer that fits. How to leave. The shadows nod. The room exhales. The ceiling chalk stalactites crumble into snow that doesn't fall, just hangs, spelling release in midair. Hargrove, my reflection, lowers the mop. The yarn head unravels, threads drifting to the floor where they stitch themselves into a thin red line that runs from my desk to the open door. The bucket tips on its own. Water spills, clear this time, following the line, washing the hex tiles clean until they shine like the day they were laid in 1950. Where it passes, the desks unbolt, slide backward, shrink to saplings, then to nothing. The walls pull away, revealing the real basement corridor, boiler room, caution tape, leaking pipe. I stand. The chair lets go with a sigh that sounds like every graduation speaker who ever said, "The future is yours." The shadows stand too, but they're fading. Saddle shoes first, then poodle skirts, then Crocs, until only outlines remain, chalk dust on air. Hargrove's mouth seam closes. The jumpsuit deflates, empty, folding in on itself until it's just fabric on the floor. The mop handle cracks down the middle, clean break. The two halves fall and become rulers, then pencils, then nothing. The PA gives one last pop, like a knuckle. Silence. I walk the red thread of water. It leads me up the real stairs. No loops now. Past the mint lockers. Past the trophy case where the 1983 article is just a blank frame. The emergency lights are steady green. My phone buzzes alive. 3:17 a.m. Battery at 1%. A text from Mom. Storm knocked power out. You okay at Sarah's? I never told her I was at Sarah's. I pocket the phone. The front doors are unlocked. Rain has stopped. The air smells of wet leaves and distant lightning. The parking lot is empty except for Mr. Hargrove's cart. Real one. Navy jumpsuit folded on top. Keys glinting. The mop bucket is dry. Yarn head pristine. A note under the handle. In block letters I now recognize as mine. Floor's clean. Go home. I think some lessons were never meant to be taught, but some are over when you finally pass the test. I leave the cart. The school doors close behind me with the soft click of a tongue against teeth. Dawn is still hours away, but the sky feels lighter, like the building exhaled 30 years of held breath. I walk the sidewalk where the wet tracks used to lead. They're gone. Only my footprints remain, already faded.